All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're all well. And I'll jump right into it. Today, I'm going to introduce a revolutionary new Jira app to you called JXL. And I'll show you how it really helps you unblock the full power of Jira for everyone in your teams. And I'll quickly walk you through our process of ideating and building JXL and then actually demo it. So it doesn't really matter if you're a Jira admin or a user or responsible for workplace technology. I'm pretty sure this will be interesting for you. Before I start, a bit of housekeeping. If you're seeing this slide, it means you're watching a pre-recorded clip, which is not unlikely, out of precaution because I had some connectivity problems and outages here lately. I'm working from home, as I'm sure many of us are these days. But please send in your comments and questions anyway. We're still technically and spiritually with you right now, and we're collecting them and looking at them and potentially responding to them right away, or addressing them later in the presentation. The idea is here that the presentation part, after the presentation, we do switch over to an interactive Q&A sort of situation and get to chat a bit. And if there are still open questions after that, visit our booth. We're a JiraCon sponsor and have a virtual booth, or join our breakout sessions. Or just write me anytime. There will be an email address in the end. And here's what I want to cover today. Very quickly introduce myself, then talk about our beautiful Jira and briefly about the concept of spreadsheets, and then how both combined in one thing are a killer app for you and your teams. Okay, so who are we? You've probably read my name as Daniel, and the gentleman next to me there is Hannes. We both worked at Atlassian for a combined 15-ish years. Hannes is an architect and engineering manager who was vital in starting up the Jira front-end platform in recent years, and he also co-founded the roadmaps or portfolio for Jira add-on in the past, which was acquired by Atlassian and is now part of Jira software. I also have an entrepreneurial background and worked in product management and leadership at Atlassian twice, actually. Initially in 2011 in San Francisco in what was then called developer relations. At the time, that was a team of 2 to 3 maybe, and we helped build what's now called the ecosystem team. And back then we created the Atlassian marketplace and the Atlassian developer side and things like that. And for the past 5-ish years, I worked in the Jira Cloud platform organization, which is where Hannes and I work together. Now, Hannes and I decided to start something new. Essentially, last year we reflected on life and said, let's just do this now. We both wanted to run our own shop again, and I kind of promised myself a decade ago, one day I'll list my own app on the Atlassian marketplace. And Fine Software, which is our company name, is probably a bit of an interesting one, but our passion is to really craft beautiful software that just works and that really helps you get stuff done. And we do that with our new Jira app, JXL. And here's a quick peek at how it looks like. We launched JXL for Jira Cloud a bit less than half a year ago, and it was an instant success. Stellar reviews and feedback, and we got staff picked straight away. And so just a month ago, we added a version for Jira Data Center as well. So it's now available for Cloud and Data Center. And if you're interested in a server version, let's talk about that as well. Pretty early on, TechCrunch featured us, and that definitely boosted our install base. And with that came really valuable feedback and well prioritized growth, which I think led to a very robust and mature product at this point. So that's us in a nutshell. I always think it helps not only to understand who someone is and what they do, but also why they're doing it and what motivates them. And if I had to summarize that in a sentence, it's because we love Jira. We probably have that in common with many of you watching now, but of course, Jira has its rough edges, and every relationship has things we need to work on together. And So that's what I very quickly want to look at now. What are Jira's strengths and what are things we want to improve? This is an important exercise for us that we went through to decide what can we build to tackle as many challenges as possible in one Jira app. And in other words, JXL isn't really an app that tackles one niche use case. It's an extension to the core capabilities of Jira that is helpful for anyone who uses Jira for anything really. So let's have a very quick SWOT analysis kind of look at Jira. Having worked in Jira with deep insights into how customers use it, what they like and dislike about it, I think the first overarching strong point is its customizability, its flexibility. What do I mean by that? The best example of that is probably Jira's workflow engine. There's hardly anything you can't do with it. Pretty much any real life process you can model in Jira, and more even you can improve it using Jira. And I think that's definitely best in class and one of the main reasons Jira became so immensely successful. Another thing worth mentioning is Jira's extendability. What do I mean by that? Basically the very thing we're doing here by offering an app that extends Jira's native functionality. If you come across something that's missing for you in Jira, you can write a plugin yourself or likely find something on the Atlassian marketplace for it. And the last aspect I'd like to mention is Jira's feature breadth. And what do I mean by that? You track your work in Jira, and the way you visualize it and interact with it is in a number of different ways. There are backlogs and boards and queues and lists and timelines and so on. So there are a lot of features. Now, it's just normal that there are also a few pain points in a 20-year-old product. I think speed, especially performance at scale, is a common feedback point. Having said that, I think Atlassian clearly knows that and is doing a great job at tackling this problem full on and making very, very good progress too. Then there's the topic of overall usability. This entails speed as well, but there are more complex challenges. This is about cognitive load and people's ability to even understand and configure or work in Jira, particularly less tech-savvy users. We've seen words used such as clumsy or inconsistent when people describe their experience in Jira. As an example, imagine you're looking at a backlog or a filter result set, and you'd just like to quickly assign 20 issues to yourself. You find yourself spending lots of minutes and clicks on that operation when really it could be instantaneous. And to conclude this feature, depth. Depth as opposed to breadth, because you do have lots of different views on your issue data, but they're all rather opinionated in how they want to be used, either in terms of process or terminology or their features. Often you can do something in one end of the product, but not the other, or just can't do certain things easily at all. So that's a very surface level analysis of the problems we could focus on with our new app here. Now, a very quick look at spreadsheets, something that some might perceive as a bit dusty and antiquated, but bear with me. Does anyone know who these gentlemen are? Wrong answers only. The other day, actually, someone said when looking at this slide, is that Hannes and you? No. Much more important people in the history of software. I think it's safe to say that these are the inventors of the first broadly popular software application ever. So you're looking at Dan Bricklin and Bob Frankston, and they created VisiCalc back in 1979. Now, I spare you the details, but the point is I think it's easy to underestimate the importance of this situation. VisiCalc was released for the Apple II personal computer, and Steve Jobs said about it at some point, spreadsheets propelled the industry forward. And he said VisiCalc propelled the success of Apple more than any other single event. And why is that? Because the concept of spreadsheets is generally easy to understand for pretty much anyone. People intuitively just work in tables. And what resulted from that, of course, is the likes of Excel, Google Sheets, and Apple's Numbers app. But in recent years, there's something interesting happening. Forget about the term spreadsheet now and call it table. Airtable has essentially made databases universally accessible and understandable for everyone. Last year, Microsoft launched their Lists Office product, and Google is currently adding something called Google Tables to their workspace suite. So you also find tables in younger products now. Also, for example, in GitHub's issues feature that's getting a table view. Trello recently got a table in its premium and enterprise editions anyway. And there's a Jira work management cloud also has a basic list view, which offers some elementary functionality in cloud business projects. And there are more of these younger productivity tools. You get the idea. So tables are the new black, and we believe they would improve many of the challenges we have found in Jira in one strike. Also, the question is really here, why should Jira users miss out on this trend? Well, they don't have to. This is essentially what you get when you extend your Jira with JXL. And the use cases are practically endless. Anything you're doing in Jira, you're likely to get a boost by doing it in what we call sheets in JXL. And I'd like to demo this now. Now, I want to start by quickly walking you through the user interface and then head over to an actual live demo. Firstly, sheets are accessible in the project navigation sidebar here. So they're located in projects. Think of sheets the same way as boards or saved filters or queues. They're a view on a particular set of issues that you define. In each project, you create and switch between as many sheets as you want up here. But in terms of their scope, they're not constrained to one project. You can have tons of tickets from different projects in a sheet. You can then inline edit fields in cells or mark and copy and paste cells, either individual fields or multiple in one go. And while cells are marked, you see useful aggregation information in the status bar. Very helpful, especially for things like quickly summing up story points and so on. You can sort and filter your columns like you would expect from a spreadsheet. You can refresh your sheet, and the three icons on the left-hand side there are currently features in development, issue ranking, grouping, and hierarchy. And up here is where you edit your sheet. And now let's switch over to the real thing. So again, on the left here in the navigation sidebar, we are in Sheets. Up here, you can switch between your other sheets, create new ones, and so on. And but let's start by editing this sheet. Every sheet has a title, of course, and this is what we call the sheet scope, a JQL statement. And this is our awesome JQL composer bar with nice hints there and handy suggestions for expressions you can type. Now I'm going to type something that is sort of mimicking the Jira a backlog scope. So what I'm doing here is pretty comfy for someone who understands JQL very well, but also for people who are less savvy with it, they found this to be really helpful. Now, sprint is in future sprints, or it's, I suppose it's empty. There we go. And then order, let's order this, I suppose, also by sprint, and that will be ascending, and by rank. I think that should be descending. All right. Now that's the scope we're looking at now. Now let's say we want to add a column here, or essentially an issue field. You see all the standard fields, including Jira Software and Jira Service Management fields, are available here. But I'd like to add my custom field. All your custom fields are available as well. And so this is the custom field I call Teams. But I want it over there. You can see this is like what you see is what you get, sort of editing experience. Save that, and there we go. Now let's get rid of this. What's next? So this is how you scroll, and you can see the really fast virtual scrolling table. You can scroll to the right. You can have as many columns as you want here. There's sorting and filtering, so let's sort this by issue key. Let's filter this to only my issues. There we go. So I need to draft a network plan for the Mars office, of course. Now I can filter this down further by putting in a filter text here. But let's not do that. You see up there, these icons are now highlighted, as are those down here. And I can clear all filters, like should I have multiple in one go here or up in the column headers. This here is a feature that allows you to disable notifications, so this doesn't become too chatty if you make lots of bulk changes. You can obviously resize columns in the way you'd like. What else? Let's edit this issue here. The Dashloop cargo system tracker is obviously really important. Now let's assign that to me, and use our custom field that we just added. This is obviously a matter for the product and design team. There we go. That needs a bit more space. And priority is all right. Let's put that in progress. Let's give it a deadline, end of month. And there we go. This is a green one, isn't it? Infrastructure, and what is this? This is infrastructure and security, the cargo dash loop system, obviously. Here's a multi-line text field, the environment. I can write in there. So you see different ways for different field types to interact and edit them. Of course, I can copy and paste these cells. Let's say, so see, I copy this now, and so I pressed Command C, and now I press Command V, and that's obviously Control C, Control V in Windows or Unix-based systems. Now I'm copying that and pasting that into multiple cells, which is absolutely no problem. I can do that with 5 cells. I can do that with 500 cells, which obviously takes a little bit longer, but it's perfectly possible. Here I go marking 4 cells, columns, I should say, and pasting them right below. And to conclude this, let's just create an issue. We need to procure some more portal fluid, obviously, which is very hard to get by. What is this? I think this is That's a task. It's all right. Here I could open the full dialog, the create dialog, the native one from Jira. And there we go. There's an issue created in our beautiful table. Assign that to me, and we're good. So that's it in terms of a quick demo. That was a really high-level demo of how JXL enhances Jira's native capabilities to address some of the pain points we identified, and how it can change the way you do work in Jira. And here's a great quote from one of our many happy customers. He describes Sheets as life-changing, which is quite flattering. There are more testimonials on our website if you're interested at jxl.app. Now again, this was a very high-level presentation. If you'd like a demo of any particular use cases you might have in mind, or just more detail about something, swing by our booth anytime or visit our breakout sessions. There's one on each JiraCon day, and the first is actually right after this slot that you're watching right now. They're very loosely structured. They're meant to be open office hours, pretty much so that we can chat a bit more if that's needed. And you can see a few example times here, but you can also find them on the event agenda. Or schedule a demo call with us anytime after the conference. Just get in touch on our website, jxl.app. To wrap up, I just want to mention again that we're just half a year old and still working on really important stuff that you'll see in the coming months and weeks. For example, issue ranking, grouping, and hierarchy. Hierarchy is pretty much done. It might even be released, is probably going to be released by the time JiraCon kicks off. I think these features will take this already awesome app to another level. It's essentially going to be the Swiss Army knife of issue management. And however, it's a must-have staple app in every Jira site already at this point. Other things we'll add include conditional formatting, self-formulas, more fine-grained sheet permissions, and much more. I do want to also emphasize that security is at the center of the experience. Your Jira data never leaves your site. So that's your cloud site or your data center instance. We simply don't store any customer data externally. Over 100 security researchers test JXL on an ongoing basis. And of course, we're compliant with the GDPR and any other applicable data protection legislation. And JXL is highly scalable. You cannot outgrow our completely bespoke issue data model and that you just saw in action, and it's built to perform. And lastly, JXL runs in all Jira products, current, and we're committed to make it work in all future Jira products, should there be any. And in Jira Cloud, it works with both company and team managed projects, so classic and next gen. How do you get your hands on JXL? Nothing easier than that. Just grab a free trial on the Atlassian marketplace or directly in the apps section of your Jira settings. And that should be enough for now. I really hope this was somewhat interesting and entertaining stuff. Now let's see if there are any questions and switch over to the live part. All right, I think we're live, aren't we? Hannes, do you want to share your screen? Okay, first of all, apologies. I understand there have been quite a few video issues. The very thing we wanted to avoid, but yeah, I think it was still viewable. All right. So now what we're going to do is answer a few questions. I also understand there have been quite a few coming in. Hannes, do you mind reading one out?
Definitely, Dan. Hi, everyone. I'm Hannes. Thanks for being here, and great to virtually meet you all. First question, Dan, from Ethan. How does JXL compare to Excel? Ethan uses Excel typically and wants to know some of the advantages of JXL over using Excel.
Yeah, that makes sense. We get that question every now and then, actually, because obviously it resembles Excel very much, and it does also offer pretty much what Excel offers in terms of functionality. I mean, one obvious thing to say is obviously that you would not have to export and import your issue data to and from Excel back into Jira. To edit your issues in bulk, or to keep an overview, or whatever the use case is. If you're editing issues in Excel, is obviously always a challenge to edit them in a way that is actually importable back into Jira. You don't need to worry about that anymore. You can just see JXL as an Excel-like sheet, but right inside Jira. The other advantage is obviously that you can have, and that I think is going to be another question later, you can have as many sheets as you want in Jira, pardon me. So you can refine the sheet scope as you go. So that's not something you can easily do in Excel and then alter the data live and instantly in Jira. So I'd say that's a quick summary of how this compares to Excel. Hope that makes sense.
Awesome. Daniel, is it possible to filter all the fields? I think we saw you filtering by the assignees. Is it possible to filter all the fields, and specifically, is it possible to filter the single line and multi-line text fields?
Yes. So the filter column filtering menus are context sensitive to the type of the field. So single line and multi-line text fields are filterable by text strings. And Hannes, if you want, if we can make this happen, we're looking at Hannes's machine, by the way, live here. You could pull up a sheet and show this for a bunch of field types. And
absolutely. So I trust that you folks see our team sheet here. Yeah, we can filter all the columns. So this would be an issue type filtering, the text filtering that has been specifically asked for works like that. What would be a good thing? Travel perhaps, and now we filter down to travel. Also works for the multi-line. So the descriptions are, or at least can be multi-line. Works here as well. Just saw that word somewhere. There we go. Don't over-index on our sample data. Yeah, also works for we don't have a date field here, but we also have a here is one, of course. Also have a date filter where you can specify a date range. So this works for all filters, for all fields, for all columns. And I think what's worth mentioning is that this filtering happens in your browser. So this is very fast. This is basically instant, very snappy. If you need more sophisticated filtering scenarios, then you can, of course, also use the sheet scope, the JQL statement. So this is really more for, okay, I have my sheet has a meaningful scope, and I'm now drilling down the data as I need it. The filters can be combined as well. I think Daniel, you showed that before, so I can filter down the status and also in addition filter down the date range, for example. Let's just clear these filters again down here. And back we are.
Great, thanks. I hope that so. And the short answer is yes. You can filter everything. Actually, I'm not sure if that's true. There might we offer support for pretty much all standard or system field types in Jira and your custom field types. There might be one or two where filtering is just not something that makes sense. But pretty much all of the short answer is yes, all of them. I also just thought of a better or an additional answer to the previous question about Excel. A feature that we haven't showed in this video because the video is a week old or so, and we have launched our first version of issue hierarchy since, is that you can configure your sheet to show your Jira data in hierarchy. Yeah, if you just want to quickly show that as well. I'm not sure how awesome the sample data is we have in this sheet, but you get the idea. So currently this is something that is maybe somehow doable with row grouping in Excel, but hardly, I think. So what this does currently is it groups and hierarchically indents the issues by their level, their basic level, so meaning subtask, standard issue level, and epic level. And what we're currently working on and going to release in the next couple of weeks is also support for arbitrary numbers of issue type levels. So, for example, the sort of thing you might have configured in advanced roadmaps for in Jira software. And the other thing is also something rather popular is essentially establishing your own custom hierarchy by using issue link types. And that's also something we're going to offer. This is the first of a number of features that are simply not a thing in Excel, and I think that's probably a much better answer than I gave before. So there will be ranking and grouping and all sorts of things. Well, grouping is available in Excel, but there's Jira specific functionality that Excel wouldn't offer out of the box. There was more, right, Hannes?
There's a couple of more questions. Thanks for all these awesome questions, by the way. There's a question about notifications. So JXL is obviously a great tool to do bulk updates. And when doing bulk updates, it's always an important question on whether or not to send notifications to the affected users. Is that something that JXL can do or can control?
Yes. So that's something that, especially in data center, has been a feature request, and so down there, Hannes, if you can show it, we have implemented that. So you have this toggle, and it basically suppresses issue notifications. Like what you can do in these sheets here is things like, quickly edit one row, one field, but you can also mark like 500 rows and columns, multiple. Maybe Hannes, you want to play around with the selection area a bit to show like how versatile that feature is. So you can mark whatever you want and paste it. And often what happens is people use this as a bit more like quicker and more handy alternative to the rather dated, awesome, but a bit dated bulk update wizard in Jira, where you just put a JQL statement in your sheet scope that shows you that lists you certain issues, and then you paste over them all, and that could be like hundreds of fields, and that works no problem. That is going to be queued, and the JXL sheet works away at these changes. And obviously then you don't necessarily want people to get updates about all that, and so that's what you do down there. You switch that toggle and you should be good. The other thing, while I'm at the topic of bulk updating, assume you have certain things that you can't bulk update that because they're not necessarily related to editable fields. For example, I don't know, you want to change your watch status or something like that. What you can do, and Hannes, maybe you can quickly show that context menu as well. So you can mark a number of issues and then right click, and there's a bulk edit action there, which would take you out to the Jira native bulk editor as well. So that obviously also is something that works.
Awesome, thank you, Dan. A little bit related to that, when you demoed the bulk, the copy and paste operation, my personal favorite, is it possible to copy and paste between JXL and spreadsheet apps?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you still, for some reason, need Excel or Smartsheet or Google Sheet or something else, then you can just copy, or anything for that matter, like a text editor or anything. You can copy a text string, a certain or a date or a certain value, and paste it into a JXL sheet. Hannes just does that now with this text, copied that and pastes in there. Obviously, there's cases where what you have copied and try to paste in some particular field type doesn't actually make any sense, and then there would be a warning, and JXL wouldn't do that. So there are handy notification flags that show you, hey, this didn't work. This is exactly then. Like, you can't paste that text into an assignee or a people picker field, obviously. So that's what happens then. But yes, short answer, yes, you can copy and paste between, like, in and out of Excel or JXL sheets.
Awesome. Then can we sum up numbers like you could do it in a spreadsheet?
Yes, totally. So currently, how that's used, how that's implemented is, if you mark a few fields, then just keep an eye on when Hannes marks fields now. The story points or the time tracking fields are the best example. They're always in the status bar down there. You see aggregations that are, useful for whatever field type you're marking. Maybe we can demo this for other things as well, for date ranges, for certain fields don't have aggregations, like text fields. That doesn't make much sense. But here we have marked a time range, so that's displayed in that way. Maybe a status, or that's just one status. So these are two priorities, marked 4 fields, but 2 priorities, 2 types of priorities. It works with people. It works with all sorts of different field types. Most field types have very handy aggregations down there. I hope that answers the question.
Daniel, is there a concept of personal sheets as compared to team sheets in JXL?
Yeah, I had seen that question. So there is. So at this point, we don't offer yet, but that's a planned thing for the near future, permissions, where you could say, like, this sheet is only accessible for me and no one else. For now, these sheets are just accessible for everyone who has access to the project that the sheet is located in. But the most important answer here, I think, is that I should reiterate that you can create as many sheets as you want. So maybe, Hannes, you can just do that. Create a sheet there and call it, my sheet. So this is a sheet that's what said team sheet up there was really just a sheet title. And we give it a different sheet title now. This is my personal sheet, and that's not really interesting for anyone else. But you see, we can now set a sheet scope that sort of makes sense. It's assigned to me, and here we go. So we can also, maybe there are a few of these other sheets, or let's not go in too much detail, but they can obviously, then you can edit the columns, you can edit everything that makes the sheet like sort of the perfect view for you and your task. And your teammate next to you has another sheet that does something completely different. And then there might be a team sheet that works for everyone. We see people using this for so many different things. From, I mean, the obvious ones would be, backlog management or sprint planning, or a personal task list. But we have seen also inventory and asset lists. We have seen timesheets. The time fields are really handy, a very, very nice way to edit your own time, or keep an eye over your team's time. Maybe scroll a bit more. The familiar progress bars as well. Everything. So the use cases are really endless, and they can pertain to a team or to a singular user. That doesn't really make a big difference. Hope that made sense.
A little bit related to that, Dan, can JXL be used as a, I don't want to say as a replacement, but to mimic JSM queues?
Yeah, totally. We have that actually. We obviously don't want to show the sensitive data now, but our queue is actually a sheet as opposed to. So yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see all the JSM fields there, and you see it basically lists, gives you all the ingredients you need for a service desk queue. And when you click, and maybe we can demo that as well, when you click on an issue, like the issue key specifically, then you gotta save first, get out of there, or cancel or whatever. What I'm trying to say here is you get the nice issue card on top of the sheet, and so you stay in context, and you can, for example, answer a customer here. What comes to mind in that context as well is we had a customer who does exactly that. So they wanted to answer multiple, so they have huge service desk queues, and they want to answer multiple people in one go when a feature is released, or a bug is fixed or something. And so they asked us to make the comment field editable. Maybe Hannes, if you want, you can. This is not a service desk project now, but you get the idea. This is the comment field, and you can paste comments into it. And there's a separate column that we offer, which is called customer conversation. And if you paste into there, the same answer would be sent out to the customers, to the requesters in one go. So this is a really nice way to speed up your service desk work as well.
Awesome. Then we're getting to the end of the Q&A. Just two more questions that I think are really good. First one, let's say I want to keep a permanent copy of my spreadsheet. To archive it. Obviously, because all that data is live, that's a little bit difficult directly in Jira. Is there a way to do that in JXL?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have keep snapshots basically of your sheets, you can just export them. There's a really good export feature that doesn't have any limits or anything, like I believe the one in Jira natively still has. So here you can choose the format, so the open office, or the format used by Excel, and comma and tabulator separated values, and then you can archive that. Another one, maybe quickly, we still have 2 slides in the end, and then we have also a breakout session right after this slot. By the way, if there are more questions, just join us there.
Exactly. So Second to last one, Dan, is it possible to create formulas within JXL to kind of calculate, cells based on other cells?
Not yet. Not yet. Very, very much a planned feature, but not yet. We're not there yet. So we're currently working on the custom hierarchy and then ranking and grouping, and we'll tackle certain things like conditional formatting and formulas, cell formulas as well in the near future.
Awesome, Dan. And the last question: what's on the roadmap? What's coming next?
Yeah, so that was a quick overview. I mean, what else is there? I mentioned conditional formatting and cell formulas. There's sheet permissions. There will be a sheet library. So if you, for example, create a new project and you want the same sort of 5 or 10 sheets in all these projects, then you can save them as templates, that sort of thing. There's so much, drawing a blank now. There's interesting stuff. You can always also check out our docs site, jxl.app/docs. There's a feature roadmap as well as a change log. And there's a good overview. If you click at the top right, the roadmap, we're there either way. We have a bunch of obvious things. There's still like print and share and localizations, further localizations in other languages than English, and so on. Cool. I'm not sure when they cut us off. Maybe we switch back to slides because yeah, this one we still just wanted to quickly say. We have this beautiful, I think the first day, the US day of JiraCon is coming to an end, but the second one is coming up, and for both audiences, if it's not the same, if you interact with our booth and do other things like attending this very talk and asking questions and so on, there's this scoring system where you get scored. Or gain points, and then if in addition to that you post a lovely answer to our question, what's your favorite JXL feature so far, on LinkedIn or Twitter, including our wonderful URL, then you can win Amazon gift cards. Next slide, and this is essentially just giving you a quick overview over where you can check out JXL on the marketplace. Obviously, just download it, a free trial, or have a look at jxl.app, our website. And that leaves us with the last slide. This is what's next. I believe this is the final slot in the US day of JiraCon. It has been a blast so far. And I hope I hope this was interesting. Join our breakout session at the very bottom there. You see one of the next sessions in the next slot is us again, a breakout session. If you have any questions, if you need more demos, if you have specific use cases, whatever it is, let's talk. And thanks for your attention, and have a good one, and stay safe. Bye.